My husband confessed his undying love for his childhood sweetheart. Now we're going to meet.
Yeah, as one does when that happens.
Sure. Basically, this afternoon, my husband and I will be going to a tea house with, let's call her Susie, one of my husband's used to be best friends and unofficial high school sweetheart. The reason for them not being best friends anymore is simply that they grew apart as they went to college. No animosity whatsoever, and still a lot of love and appreciation. By the way, this comes from throwaway 5419499, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. She texted him Sunday night out of the blue and said she'd like to finally be able to hang out with us, as we've said that we'll get to know each other several times, but never actually went through with it. But the date is on for today, and I'm very torn about how I feel about this. But now let me explain why I've come to you guys about this. I was with my high school sweetheart for 7 years, 7 pretty good years. We separated, and shortly afterwards, I met my now husband, and we immediately hit it off and became an item. My husband, let's call him John, he met Susie in middle school and immediately grew affectionate of her. Going into high school, he absolutely fell for her. He says that from the moment he woke up to the moment he closed his eyes to sleep, she was on his mind. He dreamed of her, dreamed of scenarios where he was married with her, where she was pregnant with his child, being intimate with her. He says that he dreamed of being with her because she needed someone to care for her, as she had trouble in school and had a health issue that she needed help with. He knew no guy would love and care for her as much as he would, and to this day, he claims that to be true. She, Susie, is his age, a very sweet, calm Christian girl who didn't have many friends growing up because she was always different and not self-obsessed like most teens. She was genuinely sweet, she cared deeply for others, and he just saw her in a light that no one could even touch. He says that in his teens he was too aggressive and emotional, and that's why he feels that she never accepted his invitations for a relationship. My husband, although honestly a very good-looking guy, he does have a very strong character. He is not tame or shy to say how he feels. He feels that he is a very intelligent person that makes bad decisions. He isn't a knucklehead or a wiener by any means, but he is a sweetheart and very emotional and caring of other people. Extremely caring. He says that he feels that she cared for him too because they were such good friends, but she never accepted him because of his very hormone-induced aggressive attitude. And since she's a sweet girl, she knew an attitude like this would be trouble. She would ask him for help with homework, and he would do anything for her because she was Susie, the girl that he knew he wanted to marry and grow old with, and he would do anything for her. And honestly, I believe him. I definitely believe that she is the person that he says she is. I truly believe that she is a rare gem with a heart of gold. I've seen the girl in her profile through his Facebook, and she looks like a girl with a good head on her shoulders and a sweet, innocent, caring girl. Everything he says, I don't deny. But my issue is he's expressed to me in between conversations about alternate scenarios and how things would have played out. That if she would tell him that she had feelings for him and loved him, that would change everything in his heart. She is the exception for everything. He still says, no one would have cared for her like I would. She needs care. I would have had a happy life with her. Around November, he asked me to respond to one of her text messages while he was playing Black Ops, I think, and I responded and scrolled up. I know, terrible human being. I read messages where he asked her why she never went for him, complimented her, and said something like, Susie, you know, I've always thought you were very pretty. And she said something cute, something that I guess he found endearing, and simply responded with her name and a sweet emoji. That destroyed me because that told me more than I wanted to know. I knew he felt for her. I knew he always would, but to read it, it spun me around. So that weekend, driving back to our hometown, I asked him very casually about her and exes and stuff like that. And I remember vividly listening to the soundtrack for The Last of Us, which just bummed me out more. He told me that he had been dreaming about her and thinking about her, and he felt those love feelings coming back. That's when he told me that no one would love or care for her like him. He also said that he would leave a relationship he was in just to be with her. How do you respond to that? OP says. How do you compete with that? He noticed it made me quiet for the rest of the weekend, but I couldn't get that off of my mind. He noticed and comforted me on Sunday and said that he was happy with me and wouldn't leave something that is already established. So that's simply not what you said. That's quite the opposite, actually.
I would never leave I would never leave you in this situation we've already established.
Yeah.
Because Susie doesn't want it.
Yes, exactly.
So as long as Susie doesn't want me, we're fine.
Yeah. So I didn't mention the messages. I never did, even though I want to blurt it out when it comes comes up. But it all cooled off a little, and that was left at that. I left it at that too, because it makes me literally sick to my stomach when I think about stuff like that. It makes me sick, so I try not to dwell on it for my own good, and also because I probably over-exaggerate and it's all in my head. Then he lets her know that we're moving back to our hometown, and she says that she wants to meet me, finally, and that we should get together. We come back, and in between all the moving and work and whatnot, well, we never actually did. But he texted her randomly last week, and she replied, and they exchanged brief pleasantries. Sunday night, however, she texts him and says that she wants to meet me soon and sends him her work schedule and the days that she has off. She asks when we can get together. My husband, very excitedly, screenshots the text and let me know that it's all up to me. So I say, let's do it Tuesday after work. Tuesday comes, he gets a haircut, showers, cleans the truck since we're going to pick her up. She texts him around 7 and she can't make it because they extended her hours at work, and he gets noticeably bummed out. But because we were already counting on having dinner, I told him, hey, let's go out anyways, just you and me. So we do. I jokingly tell him to cheer up and that he'll have a date with her soon. He says he hopes so. He keeps texting her, but they've kind of texted for a while now, so no surprise. But something in him changed. He jokes around about her and him, and when I joke around, I should say, in quotes, joke around, about them two finally working out, his responses worry me. I told him Monday, imagine she told you that she has feelings for you. He said, what would you do if she told me that? Avoiding the question. And, well, I didn't have an answer.
Yeah, because it's not about me, dude. It's about you.
Yeah.
Look, but when you know that the answer to these questions, OP, you know that the answer to these questions is I'm leaving you for Susie, get out. Get out of the relationship.
Absolutely.
I've had to literally say this to someone before.
Really? Ugh.
But I haven't been pretending. I was like, literally, this probably won't make it in anyway, so it doesn't matter. I was like, literally, this person could walk into my life and be like, let's get married, and I would immediately say yes. So I'm not in a place where I can date.
Yeah,
because that's just not how that works.
Much less get married to someone.
Yeah.
Like, no. I told him, I know that if she told you she loved you, that's it. It's case closed in your heart. He didn't deny it. He just stayed quiet. And he asked me what I would do. I just stayed quiet because what can I do again? When I express concern, he just says, I'm very dramatic and I'm making things up. Yesterday, I asked him, what if we can't have kids? Should we adopt? And I crap you not. He said, well, then maybe Susie and me can have a baby and you and your ex could have one, and laughed.
I would be so far out the door.
Yeah. What?
These are not thoughts that you have when you're okay in your relationship.
No. Like he's just straight up, like, I would call this emotional cheating, kinda, or at least like on its way to that. Just straight up like in front of her and so unashamed.
Well, it's like you said, it's the exact thing of like being like, if a celebrity be like, if Ryan Gosling walked over and said he loved me, I'd leave you right now.
Sure.
And it's like, oh yeah, if Ryan Gosling said he loved you, but then it's be like, yeah, if Sarah from my high school walked in and said she loved me right now, I'd leave you. Then it's like well, Sarah from high school lives 10 minutes away.
Yeah. It's like,
you know her.
Right.
What?
Because then the question is like, okay, things didn't work out in high school, but you like, if this is still a feeling that you've had, how much time has gone by where things still didn't work out? And like, what have you been doing in that time? Like, how were you pursuing her? Have you given it another shot? Because it sounds like it can happen. He laughed, and when he noticed I didn't, he said, I'm just kidding, cutie pie. Yes, we should adopt. I just looked down because it's soul crushing. It's playing around, but I'm not an idiot. This indirect joking about her and him that he's making, it's unaliving me, but I have to pretend that it's not.
No, you don't.
No,
See, that's the other problem is you don't need to do that. You can be like,
absolutely.
Hey, this is one of the most wild things a partner has ever just said to me.
Yeah.
Thinking that it's nothing unusual.
Right.
What is going on?
I showed him a picture of a girl on Instagram that he's always thought is gorgeous and hot, and he said, nah, I don't have spicy related feelings for other girls. And I said, well, John, you've always liked her. So then who do you have spicy related feelings for? You already know that response. The whole night I have trouble sleeping because this date feels like I'm walking into my funeral. I wake up and lo and behold, he lets me know that he didn't sleep until 2 because he was texting Susie all night and they were arguing about religion. He's an atheist and she's very much not. He told me that she asked him if they could talk about it over the phone since it's easier than through text. He tells her no, I'm asleep in bed next to him. He also lets me know that she's told him that he's her best friend and only friend. All of this tonight, one day before we all met up. Out of nowhere, she wants to see him and me this week, desperately trying to find a time to talk. Then tells him that he's all she's got. What? It's over for me. I lost. I'm here because when I separated from my ex-boyfriend, I lost all my friends. I was left with not one of them. They were all guys and my ex-boyfriend kept them. Because I had been with my ex-boyfriend all throughout high school, I did have girlfriends, yes, but they all went their separate ways after graduation. And the group that was my ex-boyfriend and the guys, we stayed together. After the breakup, they texted me once in a while, but to avoid problems with my ex-boyfriend, they never reached out to me to invite me or anything. Everybody I trusted, I lost at the drop of a hat. I have just my parents, my pets, and my husband. And I don't tell my relationship problems to my parents because I just don't see that being a good idea. I don't want them to hate him because he has a side to all of this too, so I avoid telling them issues with him unless he's in the room to present his side. My parents are very reasonable and understandable, so they call me out on my crap too, which is why I trust their response. I know that I'll get a direct one, not a biased one. So that leaves me with nobody to vent to, and sometimes I feel like screaming in fits of anger and crying because I have no one to talk to. I know that I need to make friends, but it hasn't been easy with the moving and the new relationship and work. Plus, I'm not the most socially adaptable person. I have trouble feeling comfortable around people. It takes me a while. I've thought about this so much that I've thought that maybe I should step aside and let them be. I'm being dramatic because she hasn't professed her feelings for him, and who knows, maybe she doesn't have them. But everything points to this. All she has to do is talk to him, and he's back in dummy mode over her. I can't compete with the sweetest girl in the world, the damsel in distress. If she's a good person, maybe he does deserve her. Maybe they should be together. And I know she is. But dang it, I love him. I worked hard at our relationship. Nothing about it has been easy. I put half as much effort. It's not fair. She had her chance and she rejected it. And now she's coming back into his life and all he needs is even the slightest hint of interest in him. The slightest, and yeah, he'll physically be with me, but his heart will forever be gone. But it's not fair. I put in the effort. I reciprocated his feeling. I try to be as loving and understanding and trusting as I could be. I'm new to this. I'm just trying to be a good wife. I love my husband, but I can feel him slipping away. And that leads me to my conclusion. If when I go today to the date, I see her looking at him, and if I see what I'm afraid I'll see, what do I do? I'm still wondering how I'm going to stomach it if the chemistry is there. Plus, my husband isn't very good at hiding feelings. He's very outpouring. I want him for me because dang it, that's why I got married. But what's the point if his heart dwells too much on her? I could never compare to his idea of her. No girl could ever. And I'll just be betraying myself if I keep him knowing where his heart truly stands. By the way, your heart could stand with us if you join us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, whatever your favorite podcast app is. Just search OK Storytime. We'll be there for you with full episodes and more stories just like this one.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And there is a little bit more to the story, but she knows what she needs to do.
I think one thing clearly I've been championing, don't be married to a man who's clearly in love with someone else. But I don't know if you've actually expressed any of these thoughts you've put into your Reddit post to your husband, which you shouldn't have to do, and your husband shouldn't have to be told that, saying I would leave anyone for this woman except you, I guess, but anyone else on the face of the earth.
Yeah.
And it's first you got to get this out there in the open. You got to say, hey, this is how I'm feeling. This is what's going on. I feel like you should already know this, but here it is.
Yep.
And, if he can't change at all, it's there's nothing to do. It's you're in love with this woman. Yeah. You shouldn't have married me. I shouldn't have married you.
Absolutely. It sucks that you love him. Guess what? You can find someone else. You can find another love. That's possible. So just walk away. It'll be much better for you in the long run because he clearly doesn't love you as much as you love him. So that sucks. But pill you gotta swallow.
As a conversation first, then
sure.
If nothing is, if nothing happens out of that, because you can't I will never condone to just leave a situation without actually putting your cards on the table first.
Yeah.
I think you always need to lay it out there first.
Okay.
And then get out.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Do you think a conversation could save the relationship, or?
I just think it's impossible to say whether or not a situation is insalvageable or needs to be until you're talking.
Yeah.
Until you're talking about how you're feeling about it with your actual partner, there's something to be done.
I feel like she's tried to talk about it.
It's even like just catharsis of like, hey, this is how I've been feeling and how I feel now.
Yeah.
And because of that, I'm done.
Yeah.
At the very least. Like it just needs to be said.
Yeah. But there is a little bit more to the story. So after all this, I feel a little better. I'm not even sure this will get responses. I kind of doubt it because it's so dang long, but I don't know what to do. I feel lost. I feel like a doofus who's making a big deal out of nothing. I feel defeated, but mostly betrayed because I've done so much for him. And yet I have a feeling that if I tell him that, he'll tell me that no one has done as much as what she's done for him in his heart. Thank you for reading, strangers. I just needed an ear. And if you have any questions, please let me know. I know a lot of important details are absent. I just don't want to make it longer than it is. Comment number 1 says, reading this post breaks my heart. You're so young, and to see someone settle for another person that has told them that they'd leave them in a heartbeat for some high school crush is worrying. I personally couldn't be in a relationship where I felt like a placeholder. Comment number 2 says, you act like this is all normal. This isn't normal. A husband telling his wife that another woman is and always will be first in his heart. That is absolutely soul crushing and terrible. If my husband did such a thing to me, I would be heartbroken. And that's putting it lightly, which obviously sounds like you are. I am not a fan of ultimatums, but I think this calls for one. He keeps putting this woman on a pedestal and hurting you. He needs to cut contact with this woman. He isn't friends with her. He's in love with her. That is disrespectful to you and unhealthy to say the least. Do you really want to be in a marriage where you are always wondering if he's thinking about her? Wondering if he is wishing he was with her instead of you? Because that is a situation you're living in right now. And that is heck. And if you do decide to ask him to cut contact with her, I would sit him down and ask him how he would feel if you told him another man would always be the love of your life. That you would do anything for this other man, even drop any relationship you were in. How would he feel if all you did was text all day, every day with this other man? And I would definitely come clean about the inappropriate flirty text that you saw. Not only has he put her on a pedestal, but you have too. You think that she is perfect and sweet and nice. A nice, sweet woman would not allow another married man to text her the things that your husband has been texting her. My best friend is a man and he never talks to me like that. We are both only friends and respectful of each other's significant others. Someone responds, nice, sweet women also don't text other women's husbands until 2 a.m. I feel bad for OP, but it's aggravating to see her being so passive about this. Someone else responds, I think it's mostly because she sees her husband as a nice, sweet man, close to perfection, but he is not. He's a child who can't forget about a crush, who thinks this is the destined woman of his life, even if she rejected him, and who puts his silly dream above the woman that he vowed to love for life. Wake up, OP. Your husband is nothing close to what you think he is. Another comment says, walk away. I'm serious. I know it will be hard, but he has flat out told you that he would leave you for her and is in the process of reconnecting in an emotional way with her. I would bet you're going to get a we should try a poly or open relationship, etc. from him and possibly her. Even with her dedicated Christianity, I could see that happening. I'm so sorry that you're going through this. 23. She's 23? Did we know that?
You've got so much more life ahead of you.
My goodness.
Don't worry about it. Leave this guy before you waste any more time with a...
Yes.
He wants Susie.
Yes. Another comment says, call off dinner. Tell your husband that he can't seriously expect you to sit down and make nice with a woman that he's outright told you that he'd be prepared to leave you for. And that you can't understand why he's willing to just let this play out if he values your marriage even the slightest bit. Ask him to cut off contact with Susie at least until this has been resolved. Although, frankly, he should be prepared to make it permanent if he can't keep the conversation from straying into what might have been and come with you to counseling. If he insists on going alone, well, then you've got some choices to make, but none of them need to involve martyring yourself because you see no other alternative. And that is the end of that story. Just, let it happen. Let him go to Susie, and if she rejects him again, good.
Yeah, so if you're married and your partner is like, I'm so in love with this other person who's not you. I'll probably leave you for them.
Yeah.
It's time to go.
This is like not even a red flag. This is like the sky has turned red from some sort of evil thing happening.
It's the Red Sea.
The Red Sea. Everything in your life, you've got red sunglasses on, not rose-colored ones. They're just straight up red.
This story is being sang to you by the rapper Redman.
That is the end of that story.
My wife demands me to clean the house for hours. I'm sick of it.
I'm sick and tired.
My wife was a stay-at-home mom for 3 years before our daughter started preschool regularly. Navy. Then she worked part-time and went back to graduate school, both online from home. She worked as a part-time teacher for an online school, and her graduate school was online. She did that for 2 years and then looked for better work and has been working full-time for about 6 months. Our daughter, who's now 6, is in 1st grade. By the way, this comes from user sick of cleaning up. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. My wife has, in my opinion, ridiculous cleanliness standards for our house. She was very hard on herself when she was stay at home and made sure everything was spick and span. Dinner was always something freshly cooked. She refused to use something like a crock pot or easy meal. She refused to let me get maid service even when she was in graduate school working and minding a toddler most of the day. Our daughter did do preschool from 2 to 4, more and more time at preschool each year, but my wife still had her for some days, or at least part of the day. She worked her butt off. Our house always looked amazing, like something out of a magazine. When I could see she was overworked or still working on chores when I got home, I tried to talk to her about help or having more reasonable expectations, but she wouldn't hear. I did try to pitch in a bit, but I just can't stand doing too many chores, especially if things are basically clean. I mean, I'll do dishes or I'll cook, but I can't be asked to dust the little borders at the bottom of the wall weekly. Who does that? Is that really something everyone worries about? I am a middle manager at an engineering company. Really decent money. Not the greatest job in the world. I preferred being an engineer, honestly, but the management stress was definitely worth the pay bump since my daughter has been born. It lets me provide for my family. I would be fine with my wife working or staying home and never pressed her to do more. She is very driven and hard on herself. I don't see why she needed to work and go to graduate school, but she wanted an income that at least paid for schooling since her program was expensive. That's basically all it paid for in those 2 years, but that's fine. I would have gladly paid out of our fund money and scrimped for her. So the conflict here is now that my wife is working full time. She still wants to keep the house up to the same standard, but she wants to give me a laundry list of chores to do basically every single day and all day Saturday. I don't mean she wants me to pitch in a little. When I asked her for a time estimate, she said maybe 20 hours a week. I think this is ridiculous, Reddit. Seriously. And yeah, that is a little ridiculous.
20 hours a week for cleaning? When you have a kid and a full-time job? I won't do that. I'm sorry. If I was OP, I'm not going to do that.
I think the problem here is in our execution. Are we cleaning with the microscopic lens that goes down to the molecular level and we're, because that's a little too much. If it's taking us 20 hours a week to clean, we're cleaning wrong.
Yeah.
I've suggested things like crock-pot meal solutions, getting a maid service if we really need it, and maybe cutting back on vacuuming once weekly or cutting out some non-essential chores except doing them maybe monthly or quarterly. I don't want to live in squalor. I pick up after myself. I can cook a meal, wash dishes, wipe down a counter. I understand dust and mildew shouldn't be in the house and that the pink mold in the bathroom must be guarded against. I don't want to be a pig, but I feel my wife's standards are just too imposing. I will add, this isn't about parenting. I'm very involved as a parent and my wife would agree on that. While she was the primary caregiver because she could stay at home, I have always made sure my wife had kid-free time, and Sunday is daddy day where my daughter and I always do something fun together, in or out of the house, and give my wife the afternoon to herself if she wants it. She sometimes wants to tag along, and that's fine too. The thing is, she's really mad about this because she's kept up these standards for so long on her own, and she feels like I'm not her partner. Do I just have to suck it up and lose the majority of my free time a week on chores, or is there some better way to talk to her? I'll give in if I'm really in the wrong here, but I just feel there has to be some kind of compromise. I'll say that my wife often uses her free time to clean, even if I insist otherwise. So, like the Sunday afternoons I insist she has free, if she doesn't join us, she will often clean more or do an errand. I wish she would take some time for herself, but she just doesn't choose to very often. There's an edit. Can people also share what they view as normal household cleaning? I want to make sure I'm not just being an ignorant slob. Okay, we've got the list now. So we're going to get a peek into
Let's see it.
The cleaning the daily cleaning list. Here's today's list. And the same every other Friday when I'm off. Keep in mind this off time is earned by working 10-hour days every day of the 9 days I do work each 2 weeks. Not like a bonus. I only worked 30 hours this week. Okay, here's the reasonable chores. Laundry for the whole household seems to be about 6 loads for the week, including towels, hand towels, sheets, blankets, blah, 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 as well as all 3 of our clothes, and then a few dry clean in bag loads for her stuff. My dry clean stuff goes to an actual cleaner, as do some of hers. Prepare dinner for tonight. She left a specific recipe, which is like a 2-hour affair, which is a bit meh when I could have made something simpler, but I'm home, so I get this to an extent. The Clean the kitchen by wiping down counters, cleaning the microwave. Soup did explode in it recently, so it looks dirty. Cleaning stove and burners, etc. There are other things on the kitchen list that seem less reasonable, like she wants the oven cleaned every other week with baking soda and a scrub down. This seems like an annual thing to me, not like an every other week thing. And the whole refrigerator cleaned out and scrubbed every other week.
Yeah, because I feel like if you're a stay-at-home parent and you don't have much else to do besides like hang out with the kid, take care of the kid, and like do schoolwork and stuff, and if you don't have any hobbies, I'd probably be cleaning all the time too. If that was all I had to do and I didn't have any other interests or
just
things to spend my time.
Clean.
Yeah, I would totally do that. But guess what? That's not the most important thing to me.
I got more stuff, man.
Got other things.
Even cleaning out the burner pans doesn't seem like something you do every other week to me, but whatever. Also, all the cupboards and cabinets, no bleach in the kitchen except for the floor, of course. Vacuuming the house, this would be reasonable, except she just had me do it Monday. Changing the linens in the guest bedroom, whatever, seems weird, but not time consuming. Things that seem less reasonable, using the deep carpet clean machine after vacuuming for the second or third time this week. I think she vacuumed once too. Leather cleaning the leather couches in the sitting room. There are instructions that look horrifying for this. Bleach cleaning the floors, 2 bathrooms, 1 kitchen, 2 patio, back and front with the scrub brush. Dusting the whole house, including moving furniture and getting every baseboard. There's about a page worth of dusting instructions. And by the way, I have instructions for you to go listen to full episodes of stories just like this on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on iHeartRadio. Wherever you listen to podcasts, just search OK Storytime. And I think we have a fair chunk of story left, and we're only halfway through. Yeah, I'm getting the sense that maybe the cleaning is a little extreme.
Yeah, I'm feeling that way too. Maybe she's got some sort of control problem. Maybe she's got some sort of like health anxiety problem, something like that. I don't know.
So I think this is a great situation for compromise.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
We go to our wife and we say, hey, I have some thoughts.
Yeah.
And here's what I'm down to do. Here's what I'll be doing.
Right.
I think you should get over the vacuuming, buddy. Vacuum all the time.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Vacuuming twice a week is not abnormal. Doing the deep cleaning carpet thing every 2 weeks, though, that is a little abnormal.
Yeah.
Leather treating your couch is normal. Not every week, it's not, but, I don't know. Moving furniture to get dust, also kind of normal. Having to dust the entirety of the house every week, though, not super normal. That's maybe like a once a month type deal.
Having to clean out your fridge and your cabinets
twice a month,
maybe.
Well, no, that's what they're doing.
Oh,
they're doing every 2 weeks.
It was weekly.
Every 2 weeks they're scrubbing out the whole fridge. Every 2 weeks they're
like, it's got to be some sort of like, oh, she's worried about being unhealthy, or when they have people over, she's worried about being judged for like not being clean. Because like a lot of these things, like I get it, they do build up, and so if you take care of it, like every now and then like you won't it won't be that bad once you just like leave it alone. But like what a waste of time. If it's not that big of a deal to like have it a tiny bit like messy or have it build up a little bit, then like you can do deep cleans a little bit like once things build up, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, I thought OP was gonna be so wrong in this, and they're totally like not in the wrong at all, really.
No, yeah. We support you, OP.
Yeah. And then there are things I do without her asking, like the dishwasher was run last night, so I already put away dishes, took out the trash this morning, I cleaned up a few stray shoes on the floor, I made the bed when she left for work. Of course, she's gonna be pissed if I don't get it all done because I was on Reddit, but I honestly feel overwhelmed. I plan to get at least the laundry, dinner, and kitchen done. And there's some comments. Let's see what they have to say for this poor soul. Comment 1, just a quick note to add to other advice here. Some of her chores are actually damaging. Like what you're doing to the carpet by over vacuuming will wear it down. The leather cleaning will wear it faster. Scrubbing wood floors with a brush too often will damage the finish. This is a really good point and goes for the bathrooms too. If you have grout, the more you clean, the more you need to seal it to prevent penetration of water and other substances, which causes deep mold growth that isn't always readily apparent. If you have granite or stone tile, that's the same advice. Sealants, finishes, and caulking, and a lot of natural surfaces and fibers, which are expensive to repair or replace, are incredibly vulnerable to overcleaning. A second comment says, a couple of ideas. First, ask her to prioritize her list from what she considers the most important to least important. Then tell her you will do the top 3 or 5 things from the list. 2, ask for a compromise on the frequency. Unless you have multiple pets or a confetti machine, there's really no need to vacuum 3 times a week. If your daughter has severe allergies or something, maybe, but realistically, most people just vacuum once per week. Same thing with cleaning bathrooms. A deep clean once on the weekends, and then have some disinfecting wipes on the toilet tank. For quick messes, you can just wipe up anytime they happen. I even do one bathroom on Saturday and then one bathroom on Wednesday so I don't feel like I'm doing all the cleaning on the weekends. 3, impress upon her your understanding that you need to be an equal partner, but that doesn't mean you both view cleaning in the same way. What might be her minimum cleanliness standards don't have to be yours, and that you both need to meet somewhere in the middle and work towards that together. 4, also let her know how important your free time is to you. Your daughter is not going to grow up and wish she had spent more time cleaning with you. As the daughter of a mother who was a bit OCD about cleaning, let me assure you that this is a fact. She will have wished she spent more time one-on-one with both of you doing fun things. Maybe remind her of this. Keep the priorities straight. There will always be time for tidying up, but your daughter is going to grow up in the blink of an eye, and you don't get that time back. Good luck, OP. Comment 3, oh, you guys definitely need a cleaning lady. I haven't cleaned a bathroom in 2 years. When I started looking for recommendations, I was surprised to find out pretty much all my friends who work had one. I always thought I was just a lazy slob. That's what I would fight for if I were you. Then she gets the clean house she wants, and you both get free time. Additional questions from OP. Serious question. Is it fair for me, OP, to have like 5 or 10 hours a week to myself to do something I personally enjoy as a hobby as well? Or is that too much to expect as a husband and dad? It's usually closer to 5 than 10, but sometimes on the weeks I get Fridays off, I have had 10 before. I understand if I don't get the time because it's the holidays or my daughter is sick. I'm not a stickler, but I feel like some hobby time for me in the week is reasonable, and my wife doesn't really agree with that because she doesn't take any for herself, though I try to afford her the opportunity to do so.
Yeah, that's totally unreasonable. You should not have any hobbies.
I think your wife is confusing her own decisions to spend her time doing what could be considered work with this is what you should spend your time doing as well.
Yeah, exactly.
She's deciding to use her extra time to do more cleaning.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
True.
People are allowed to have hobbies.
Yep.
Parents, husbands, guess what? Spend time doing things that aren't chores or work.
Yes, please. Please.
It sounds like your wife's hobby is cleaning and she's trying to rope you into it. Put your foot down and don't let her walk all over you. This is her problem. If you have trouble getting in the time, why not have a father-daughter hobby hour on Sunday? She can color and you can do your hobby thing and your wife can clean, LOL. OP says, I think my wife cannot relax and enjoy herself in something she considers not productive, if there's something productive to do. So my hobby time has been a bit of a point of contention sometimes due to her seeing productive things that could be done. But instead, I want some free time. On Sundays, I really like to do things with a full focus on my daughter. I consider parenting a very important responsibility, so I wouldn't sacrifice that daddy-daughter time for hobby time, though sometimes my daughter and I will play games together. Usually, my daughter gets choices throughout the week. She also has a special sticker chart where she gets extra special trips or treats on Sundays if she's earned them through good grades or good behavior, etc. Reply, if your daughter is 6, why doesn't she have chores that she needs to do throughout the week and weekends? Little things, but chores. It might help loosen your wife up. What are you talking about? Conscripting the child into being a chore lackey is not going to ease anyone up.
When she's 6? What's she going to do when she's 6?
Well, I mean, 6-year-olds can learn how, you should be teaching your kids how to clean.
Sure. But I think giving her chores is like,
she's a kid.
Yeah, like maybe have her clean her own things, but clean up after herself, clean up little things here and there. But I feel like chores are usually assigned when you want something done.
Yeah.
But if you're going to assign them to a 6-year-old, don't expect them to be done
6-year-old
right.
chores needs to be make a peanut butter and jelly and clean up.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. We did it.
Put all your toys back in their little toy box.
Yeah, those are the 6-year-old chores.
Yeah.
Some of the most fun I have cleaning is with my 2-year-old. He loves to sweep and wash windows and pick things up and help in any way he can. He gets furious if you don't let him start the washer and dryer. He's very handy and he's only 2. My 6-year-old doesn't do many chores, but he lives with his dad most of the time. But when he's with us, I can say he cleans up and I will say, hey, clean up this, and he will do it. It's a huge stress relief. Knowing there are more hands to help, meaning less for me to do. Might want to bring it up as an option. Also, kids are brutal about what they think is clean or not clean, so they may be closer to your views on it, and your daughter might help your wife see that most people see it as clean, even if she doesn't, and that it doesn't have to be Pinterest ready at the drop of a hat. OP says, our daughter has chores like cleaning her room, picking up after herself, and making her bed, but she's not allowed near the cleaning supplies as they're all a bit toxic for a 6-year-old. Yeah, and that is the end of that story.
Wow.
Dude, get a maid.
Yeah.
End of the day, if you can afford a cleaning service, I would just do that, and that solves everyone's problems.
If we've got these standards, honestly, just do that. And if she wants it extra, then that's her hobby and she can do that.
Yep.